Well, Republicans are in full panic mode right now over the imminent release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Congressman Thomas Massie is to blame for these files being imminently released. Last night, Massie at a forum in Kentucky, along with Senator Rand Paul. They're touring Kentucky right now, speaking about liberty. He said that he has the Republican signatures to force the House vote on releasing the Epstein files. House Republican leaders oppose Massie's efforts. They don't want these files released. Remember, Charlie Kirk, shortly before he was shot, openly talked about Epstein, that he was an intelligence asset. He asked the question, was it Mossad? Was it MI6? Was it CIA? And he said we should openly release all of these files. Watch.
I think the DOJ should immediately move to unseal all the Epstein documents in the Southern District of New York.
Yeah. Everything. Everything except child sexual assault material.
I think every file should be released to the public the same way as the JFK files. Let the American people decide.
Put them out there, because if there's nothing in there, then we can see there's nothing in there. Now,
Shannon Joy is an independent journalist, commentator, host of the Shannon Joy Show. She's been covering this deeply, talking about why the Uniparty hates this. They're scrambling like cockroaches right now. And who might be implicated if these files are released. And Shannon joins us here on the show. Great to see you, Shannon. Welcome to the show.
Hey, no problem. It's great to be with you guys. I'm a big fan, both of you. You guys do some great work, so this is great.
Ditto.
Well, thank you so much. Great to have you here. So Congressman Massie a few minutes ago texted me and said he does have the votes. 100%. He's got the votes to do this. Let me just read his text directly. And I asked him, when will this vote happen on the discharge petition? He said probably the third week of October. He said earliest was October 14th, but then House Speaker Mike Johnson basically took 2 days off the calendar trying to scuttle all of this. So that does that surprise you?
Yeah, not at all. That's the second time that happened. We remember when they scurried away. They went to early recess earlier this summer because they were terrified of this vote. So this is great news. It's unprecedented. This very rarely happens. That was reported in The Hill, I think, only a few times in the past decade that a discharge petition actually moves forward. And I think that the Democrats are freaking out just as much as the Republicans because typically you have a situation in all things Epstein, when the Republicans are in power, they will cover up, for the Epstein scandal. And when the Democrats are in power, they will typically cover up for the Epstein scandal. No one really cares about this unless the opposite party is in power. This time, I think the pressure from the American people, the pressure from Tom Massie, the willingness of someone from the president's own party standing up and building a coalition with Ro Khanna out of California. And I think just the pressure from Americans in general. I think there was a recent survey of the American people. Over 80% want these files opened. They want them released, unredacted for the most part. And so I think they're just running out of rope at this point. And I'll be shocked if this vote ever happens. I am so proud of Tom Massie and Rand Paul and Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's very difficult to do this when your political party is in power. Many are saying that these unredacted files could be embarrassing for the president of the United States. They could implicate the president of the United States. But at the very least, the president and the FBI under Kash Patel and the DOJ under Pam Bondi are doing everything they can to cover up for the president's powerful friends. And that points to a lot of billionaires behind both political parties. And that's the biggest, this is where this doesn't pass the smell test for the American people, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. We know that Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of the trafficking of minors. We know that Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of the trafficking of minors. So the traffickers have been convicted. The people who haven't been convicted are the people they were trafficking the minors to, the Johns and the clients. And that is where the American people are fed up with this. I think that your last segment about yet another slew of questions about another high-profile violent incident with the Charlie Kirk shooting, where we continue to get lies from our intelligence agencies, from our law enforcement agencies, from our presidents, whether it's Democrat or Republican. I think people are just fed up with it. And so that's why you're seeing this pressure. They're going to do everything they can, I believe, to make sure that that vote doesn't happen. We're already seeing the shenanigans from Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. And, you know, what we really need to do as Americans is just put the pedal to the metal. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you got to get on the horn with your congressman, with your member of the House of Representatives, and tell them they need to get behind this, that you are watching. I had Nick Bryant. He is one of probably the foremost experts in the world. He's been reporting on the Epstein scandal for decades. And he said something very profound on my show just a couple days ago. He said, you know, this Epstein issue, the Epstein scandal and the cover up, they're so afraid of it because this is one of the only issues that could actually unite regular Democrats and Republicans, citizens across the country. The other aspect here, which makes this so important, is that many, if you look at the reporting of people like Nick Bryant and Whitney Webb and Derek Brose, Ryan Christian over The Last American Vagabond, you know, the Jeffrey Epstein scandal isn't just about Jeffrey Epstein. We're beginning to understand that he wasn't necessarily a mastermind. He was a plug-in. And this network was bigger than honeypot operations. It was bigger than the CIA or Mossad. It was bigger than the sex trafficking, the coercion, and the blackmail operation. Jeffrey Epstein was tied to money laundering. He was tied to weapons trafficking, human trafficking, drug trafficking. And so this is a case that has wide-scale global implications. It looks like there's collaboration between intelligence agencies across the globe. And it's the biggest story, I believe, in the world today. And that's why we have to continue to press on this. So that's really what I've been able to find. But I appreciate you guys having us on, or me on, to talk about this because it's incredibly important.
But let's sort of play out the imaginary fallout that could fall out of both parties, because we know that the Obama Department of Justice protected Jeffrey Epstein. We know that the Bush Department of Justice protected Jeffrey Epstein. We know that Bill Barr was connected to Jeffrey Epstein through familial connections. That was the Trump Department of Justice. Trump won. We know that the Biden Department of Justice. So the fallout would be bipartisan, as you say, uniparty. And now we have Kash Patel testifying to Congress that Epstein only ever trafficked people to himself. So what would happen to these institutions if we could get a clear glimpse into the depths of their lying, do you think? And again, this is fantasy, but let's play it out.
Maybe they'll burn down.
That's why this is such an important case. I don't know. I mean, the reason I got interested in this case 10 years ago, it started with the Miami Herald's reporting on the original sweetheart deal that was cut by Alex Acosta, who was then elevated to cabinet level position by Donald Trump, if you guys recall. But what surprised me when they flew, in order to negotiate that sweetheart deal, there was a team of attorneys that were flown down to Florida to kind of batten down the hatches for Jeffrey Epstein and negotiate this extraordinary, outrageous sweetheart deal. And one of the attorneys was Ken Starr, and the other attorney was Alan Dershowitz. And that didn't make sense to me at the time. I'm like, well, Ken Starr is supposed to be the Republican attorney. Alan Dershowitz is the guy who protects all the Democrats. Like, what is so horrifying about Jeffrey Epstein and all of this that they need to bring in a team, like almost a dozen attorneys, to come in and just make this thing go away? I think that this case gets to the heart of the criminal enterprise that is in existence within our federal government. I think it gets to the heart of the bipartisan collaboration to fleece the American people, to lie to us continually about everything, and to move us through this false paradigm of a two-party political system and false choices, regarding our elections every year. I think it just cracks everything open. And so I don't know what will happen. I think that's why they fear it. And I think that's why they're doing everything they can to keep a lid on it. But it just goes to show, though, how brave Massie is and how courageous he is for doing this. You can almost tell in some of the statements that he's made and the interviews that he's done that he knows how important this is. And he knows how dangerous it is. And I just commend him for what he's been doing. And I feel like it's my role as a journalist to just push this out and support him in any way I can. And I hope more people will do that as well.
Yeah, likewise. And I think you're right about that. Like, he knows, and he's unafraid. Just watch when he told CNN just the other day about, and he names Trump. I mean, watch this.
I believe that Trump is trying to protect rich and powerful people who are his friends, and that is why this material is not getting released.
So he doesn't pull any punches there, that it's President Trump trying to protect his rich and powerful friends.
Yeah. He's named the names of billionaire backers as well. These are people who prefer to be in the shadows. I think that he's named well over half a dozen by name. And I mean, it's extraordinary to watch. It's extraordinary to watch. And so what is in these files? I don't know. I just feel like this exercise is important for us as a nation. Like, I want something that I can link arms with Democrats on and say, this is an important thing, outside of the circus that is in Washington, D.C. and all the lies that they tell us. Like, it's this one moment where we all know, like, the gaslighting is extraordinary. I can't believe that they're even trying to get away with it. Kash Patel, the empty binders with Pam Bondi. It shows how much disdain and disrespect they have for their own base, their own Republican and conservative base, who have been ginned up and hyped up. I mean, how many times did Kash Patel himself talk about releasing the files? How many times did Trump talk about releasing the files? I mean, this was the fodder of conservative media for a decade. I mean, going back to Lolita Express and Sean Hannity, every other show, it was about Jeffrey Epstein and what a villain he was and getting to the bottom of all of this. So for them to yank the rug out from underneath their base in such a violent way, I think they overstepped. And I think that their grasp on this story is tenuous at best. And so we just got to keep an eye on it and keep pressing, right?
I think you're right. I think even when President Trump attacked Thomas Massie in those tweets, and the ratio where people in the comments were like, Mr. President, wrong move here. Like, we got Thomas Massie's back in all of this. So, wow, to see the President of the United States ratioed by his own, like, support base, I think you're right about that. Shannon Joy, host of the Shannon Joy Show. Great to have you on the show for the first time. Can't believe we haven't had you on before. Thank you so much for this. And
please come back.
Fingers crossed, 3 weeks, a vote. We'll see if that holds true.
We'll see.
Thanks, Shannon.
Right. Thank you guys so much.